Okay, so welcome to SISU Biz, and I have Andre Balzer on here from Champion Health Club. And today we're going to talk a little bit about recharging and invigorating your team and yourself. So, Andre, tell me a little bit about what you've been doing at Champion Health Club to not only recharge your members, but to invigorate your team during this pandemic.
Okay, absolutely. Yeah, Katera. So over here at Champion Health Club in Chesterfield, Michigan, obviously I firmly believe in working closely with the sales staff and trainers, um, with, not only motivating them, with quotes and inspirational things that I personally find, but also working with them on a sales training, level. So I sit down with them and I make sure I take at least an hour out of my day to sit down with them and train them on any key areas that they have questions and or concerns about.
Nice, nice. So yeah, I think, and I think sometimes people forget like how how important it is when you're a leader to really take time out of your day to really commit to their development, to their encouragement. Um, and for sure, especially during this pandemic when people, including your staff, I'm sure, has been so concerned. I think that's an amazing thing to kind of do, to kind of take that time to spend with them and develop not only their skills in business, but also just their kind of emotional and mental well-being. So obviously being in and I'll tell you a little bit about, let me tell you a little bit about SISU. So you can actually probably see behind me that picture, SISU Biz. So SISU is a Finnish term, and it roughly translated means strength in the face of adversity.
Okay.
So literally it kind of means like guts or the interior of something, but how the Finnish people look at it is, it's perseverance, it's determination. It's, you see a blockade, which many of us have during this pandemic. And, the Finns would say, okay, here's my rock. How do I get over it, around it, through it? Do whatever I got to do to kind of pivot. So we're trying to celebrate that with other businesses and what they've done to pivot during this pandemic to just kind of try to keep moving forward. So, one of the things for us, and I'll kind of share my screen with you here. So, so in Finland, a kind of a popular thing is to do a sauna. Have you ever heard of a Finnish sauna, of like how that's used?
I have not. I actually have steam saunas in the establishment over here for the men and women's locker room.
Nice.
A
So
lot of
you know the benefit of a sauna.
Oh, absolutely. I know a lot of health establishments. They either have the infrared or the heat saunas, the dry saunas, but we specialize in the steam saunas over here.
That's awesome. So that's right up our alley. So for us, in Finland, I mean, they've been doing this for thousands of years. And I always say that they use it for kind of self-care. And for them, self-care is, it cultivates their sisu. So it says, okay, I take time for myself. I kind of reinvigorate myself, and then I'm a better person. I'm ready to face those challenges, in my life. So, for like the Finns, like they use it. I always say the 4 Bs, they use it for bathing. Uh,
Okay.
our family actually has a true Finnish sauna that's like this one, that has like the rocks and the wood. And the wood, what you see like at the bottom here. So you put the wood in the bottom, you heat up the rocks, and then there's a hot water tank up on top that's actually heated
Okay.
by the sauna. And then you're obviously also sweating. They say like toxins and things like that. It's good for your heart. It's good for your skin. There's a lot of health benefits, but also the medical benefits, as well as the mental benefits of, just kind of taking that time for oneself and self-care time. And so you actually bathe in the sauna using a combination of that hot water, and you usually have like a cold water tank, and then you mix the two to get to that perfect temperature. Um,
Okay.
and literally when we're up north in the UP, here in the mitten, that's like up here.
Sure.
um, it's about 10 hours from here down in the south, but you actually, this is how you bathe every day. Like at the end of each day, it's like a thing. It takes, a couple hours for the entire family to get through their sauna time. But this is how you bathe. Like, I don't think I've ever used, they do have indoor plumbing there now, but I don't think I've ever used the shower. We always bathe in the sauna, and it happens every day. Like we bathe every day when we're up there. Um, but in Finland, they use it not only for bathing, but for births. Obviously, it's an access to hot water. They don't steam it up for the births, but and then also for like burial, for like the preparing of for a burial, and also just for like the winter blues. Obviously, in Finland, it gets pretty cold. In Michigan, it's cold right now. And so, preparing for like the winter blues or getting out of that winter blues. And I read a number once that they said that there was 3.3 million saunas for a population of 3.5 million, which to me was like crazy. I'm like, that's almost like a sauna a person,
Yeah, that
like one sauna unit. Um, but it's, that's kind of how they like, really cultivate SISU is they say, okay, I need to take time out for myself, to be able to recharge and be that leader that you kind of want to be. So how do you personally, like, this is how we personally kind of do it. How do you personally kind of recharge yourself to say, either physically, mentally, or, kind of spiritually fit to be that leader for your team?
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, as a leader at Champion Health Club, I believe first and foremost leading by example. I would never ask of my staff something I would not do myself. So I believe setting the example and then training them properly on how to do such. So reading is a large portion of my mental training. Obviously, the average CEO reads an average of 60 books or 5 books a month. I tend to try at least do a book a week, which I know it's a little short of what the average CEO would do. But obviously, that being said, it helps me lead myself to additional opportunities and helps me seek, further adventure into the entrepreneurship world. So I love learning new things, especially in the fields I'm interested in. I believe self-education is probably the strongest form of knowledge. And then obviously you also have you have to have time for yourself to debrief as well. So I'm a pretty busy person. Obviously I run the gym at least probably 10 to 12 hours a day. And then aside that, I also am working with a company called Tri-City Fire Safety. Supposed to be opening up a office in February in the Anchor Bay area of Michigan.
Hmm.
So that being said, I got to take time for myself as well. And I like to spend that outdoors.
So what is Tri-City Fire Safety? What do they do?
Yeah, so Tri-City Fire Safety is a company that specializes in residential and commercial fire, carbon monoxide, flood, and freeze protection. So we
Wow.
specialize in top of the line sensors. So where your typical home would have an ionization sensor, we use sensors that have optic sensors, 360-degree view, and photoelectronic waves so they can see the smoke.
So you really are committed to health, and so you're right up our alley. We're committed to health and safety, and it sounds like you're on that same path. So obviously you feel pretty passionate about, and it sounds like with that you're even stepping kind of into that commercial world. So
Oh, yeah.
feeling pretty content in that health and safety both for people, individual, because I believe and I'm sure you're on the same page that during this pandemic, not only have people been, physically not able to go into establishments like yours at certain points, which I think, does make it difficult to fight a virus when you're not physically strong yourself. I mean, you
Absolutely.
want to be physically strong, but also kind of being forced to be away from other people. People by nature want to be around other people.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
we like being around. I know I love, socializing with other people and talking to other people. And one of the reasons I love the Zoom is because I know like I don't have to have a mask. Like I get to actually see Andre's face.
Right.
Um, I got a really creepy mask. I would pull it out, but it would probably scare you. But it's actually like a picture of the bottom. Let me see if I have it. It's a picture of the bottom of my face. Um, and I did it like I got it on like Amazon. But
That,
it was like just a way for people to, oh my gosh, this is going to be so creepy. I can't believe I'm actually showing you this. So this is like my face.
oh my gosh, it matches it.
Well, I'm like
That's great.
always smiling. So see, I was playing with it. I'm like, okay, I'm going to frown. But my thing is always smiling.
Right.
Um,
That's
So
great.
I was like wearing this during the pandemic, but it really freaked people out. Like people were like, "Is that your?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's my face." So I'm pretty sure what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my husband's face on one of these. And I'm going to wear that around, and
Yeah,
that'll really throw people off. Because he has like a full beard and stuff. So that'll really throw people. But I think it's important, and for me, like that, like trying to find some humor, in having to like no longer see people, that's part of my like mentally staying there. Um, and I think that has been a big challenge, for people during this pandemic too, and during the shutdowns, is not being able to actually like see people face to face and have that time for themselves. And, kind of being, so have you seen that with your members when they're coming in? Are they just so excited to be back in there, just to be able to, safely, at a distance, but at least be around other people?
absolutely. I mean, a lot of my members, and they personally will tell us how happy they are to be back in the establishment. Um, a lot of them were very upset when we were shut down. A lot of the comments were, I don't understand why gyms would be shut down. You have to be healthy in order to fight viruses and sicknesses like that anyway. If you're not taking care of yourself, it's going to make it harder on yourself and the immune system. So since we've opened, obviously we have specific things in place to keep everybody safe and make sure they feel comfortable while they're working out. But yeah, they're all ecstatic to be back. That's
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
saw your EnviroMaster sign. So we're so excited to be partnering with you, and kind of helping you along the way. And I always say, like, obviously you do, because when we were looking at that picture of your facility there, you guys are clearly committed to keeping things clean and hygienic. Um,
Absolutely.
but those are the businesses that we, at EnviroMaster, that we love partnering with, because you guys are already committed to that, health and safety kind of mindset. We're
Right.
just trying to help take you to the next level. So I was so excited to see your sign out in front, and,
Yeah.
just kind of letting people know, because people want that security and that kind of reassurance that, hey, like we're committed to this. So what do you think, and this is kind of uh my last question for you, is what is the key to your perseverance? So you see my little got SISU tattoo. So, I
Yes.
think in just, and what I heard from Christian, who was the first one on our team that really met you. But it seems like you definitely, you persevere. You're like, here's a brick wall. I'm gonna, find a way to get my team and my members through that brick wall. What do you see as what's the key to that? Where does that come from for you?
Absolutely. And that's a pretty important question to me. So I'm not, I don't want to be around the bush. I did type out a paragraph in regards to that question.
Nice.
So I want to make sure I give you guys everything that I have for that question in specific. So obviously the key to my perseverance would be probably my end goal, which is definitely to have financial freedom for my family. I'm truly obsessed with achieving ultimate levels of success. It ranges from being able to give back to those in need and being able to help sponsor organizations in need. Also knowing financially my family is okay. And then obviously every week I am constantly auditing and adjusting my targets within my current business and other areas that I'd like to focus in on. I also use 3 different schedulers, from paper and then the reminders on my phone, plus an additional reminder app. So I get it pretty much in all angles. So I'm constantly reminded of what I have to do and what's coming up. And then sidestepping from that, also knowing my staff relies on me for their family. So I want to make sure that they're fully taken care of. I don't want to skip a beat. Um, I believe bigger is better personally. So I am trying to expand the name Champion Health Club and get more organizations underneath us. Currently, we're looking at space next door to potentially gain another 5,000 square feet for our facility and possibly do like a high intensity training studio over there, as well as moving some things around and maybe adding in childcare so we can get kind of branch out and get more members that can't come right now because of that. Also, as I stated previously, reading is a huge factor to keeping my mind straight. When a million different things are being thrown your way, as far as COVID pandemic, of course, Michigan gyms were impacted quite heavily. Collectively, with my partners and staff, we concluded to not sit and twiddle our fingers during the closure. But yet, while we were closed, we actually cleaned from the ceiling to the floor with a scissor lift. We painted the entire establishment ourselves, which is a 13,000 square foot facility. We did it all ourselves. Um, and then, last but not least, just finishing up, it's a quote that I love during this time specifically. But it's not about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep getting back up. That's actually by Rocky Balboa. But yeah, those are a lot of the things that just keep me going each day moving forward.
Oh, I love that, and I think that that's I've been so I'm kind of a glass half full kind of a person in general. So I love and that's part of the reason that I really wanted to start the podcast is to celebrate like just businesses and people and teams that said, you know what, we're not going to let this, we're going to pivot. And I love that you're still so like forward minded. You're like, no, 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 this is not going to knock me down. This is you might knock me down, but I'm getting back up. And when I get back
Absolutely.
up, I'm charging forward. So I love that. That's so inspiring. And that's, really what I wanted to bring to other people. So how if somebody wants to, I know you guys are active on Facebook. So, and you guys are on 23 Mile, right? 33089 23 Mile in Chesterfield.
Yes. Yep.
So if people wanted to reach out to you or they have questions or they want to find out more about, memberships there, besides Facebook, what's a good way for them to reach you? What do you suggest for someone that's kind of just looking for some information or wants to come in and check you guys out?
Yeah, so obviously we have Facebook. We're very active on there. Typically, our response times within like anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes. We usually have a reply back to a message. Also, obviously the phone number, which would be 586 273 7948. And then on our website, if you go on there, if you go to contact, we have a couple different areas there, which will send us a direct email to our club email. So we check that typically every probably 5 to 10 minutes so we can keep up to date on there as well.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for coming on. I'm going to stop the recording.